For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record.
Alright guys, so as you guys just saw, started off with a little bit of a warm-up there, went through some band work, just kind of loosening up the shoulders, warming up the rotator cuffs, going through some external rotations, just a whole bunch of different things to kind of loosen the shoulders up. Now after that, I started working the shoulders and the triceps and my chest, and especially that kind of shoulder-chest tie-in and my traps through a little bit with a lacrosse ball. So it's similar to like a foam roller, but with the lacrosse ball, you're really able to dig into the muscle a little bit more, kind of break down any kind of sore spots, knots, things like that. And it just really helps to help promote blood flow. So that's kind of one of my main things that I do for almost every single workout. So I go through that type of warm-up, depending upon the muscle group and specific to that muscle group. And then we jumped into a bunch of different variations of lateral raises, front raises, rear delt raises. And I'm gonna walk you guys through exactly what I'm doing here. Because what we're trying to do is target every single head of the delt, and we're trying to target it from different angles so we can fill it up with as much blood as possible and just really get them pumped and full of blood and ready to go. Key things that I want you to pay attention to while I'm performing these lateral raises. First of all is going to be my pivot point. Essentially, I'm going to be trying to raise from my elbow. So as I'm coming up, I'm not trying to engage my trap, keeping my shoulder locked in place, raising from my elbow here. My shoulder is the pivot point. I'm trying to disengage the trap, and I'm really trying to think of there, pulling from my elbow, engaging only the delt, and excluding the trap as much as possible. So again, from the side, you can see how it looks. And it's a big difference between what a lot of people tend to do is they'll sit here and they'll just kind of flap their wings. They'll go straight out, raising your hands above your elbows, above your shoulders. And what you're gonna do there is you're gonna work a lot more trap, you're gonna work less delt, more forearm, and it's gonna put you in a very vulnerable position to where you can get hurt a lot easier. So we're gonna really try and pivot from the shoulder joint and isolate just the delt. Dumbbell is actually going to change the resistance curve and how you're hitting each muscle group. So if I grab the dumbbell further behind like this, like all the way down, well, as I come up, it's going to pull more on the front delt. So as I come here, I'm pulling and working more front delt even though I'm hitting lateral, versus if I drop that grip, or if I move that grip up and I grip the top and I do the same movement, it's pulling backwards and it's going to be working for a rear delt. So as I'm going through this, I do a few reps with one hand position, a few reps with another one, and I just keep changing it up as I'm going through each movement. And that's again to hit the muscle from every angle possible, pump as much blood into it, and get it just full and swollen as hell before we get into our first pressing movement. So we can do another set, and then we're gonna get into our first compound or our first primary exercise. This is still just the warm-up, guys, so we haven't even started the actual workout yet. So now that we've finished warming up, we're moving into a machine overhead press. You can also do a dumbbell overhead press, barbell, whatever you feel like doing, some form of overhead press movement. Now, one thing you'll notice with this particular machine is I was actually placing a pad behind my back. The reason for that is as I'm pressing up on this machine, it's driving forward versus what I want it to do is I want it to drive up, which means that I had to change my angle so that I'm leaning forward just a touch to get that overhead pressing movement as opposed to pressing out. Because I'm trying to have it target my lateral head of my delt more as opposed to my front head of my delt. So, did about like 5 or 6 sets of this, really focusing on controlling the movement, driving through the lateral head of my delt, and trying to take the front head out as much as possible. Another thing on this, changing up how I'm gripping the handles from as tight in as possible, centered, out a little bit wider, and all that's gonna do is change the angle of how we're hitting the muscle. So every little tweak and every little change changes how you're hitting every single muscle. So it's things you gotta play around with. You gotta figure out what works best for you, what you can feel the most, and what allows you to push the most blood, because that's how we grow. Pushing blood will allow you to push nutrients into the muscle, which is gonna allow us to grow. So the more blood we can push, the more nutrients we can flow through the muscle, and the more we're gonna get growth out of that movement. All right, now the next movement is gonna be a front raise. Now again, with this movement, we can change the angle and how we're hitting the muscle based on how we grip the dumbbells. So if I grip further forward on the dumbbells, as I raise up, I'm gonna be able to control the weight more. So I'm gonna be able to go a little bit heavier if I grip forward on the dumbbells versus if I go towards the back of the dumbbell. As I come up, it's gonna wanna twist in a little bit, which is gonna incorporate more of that lateral head of the delt, which is dependent upon how you wanna do the movement. So what I actually am gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna grip the dumbbells towards the top so that I can focus on pushing a little bit more weight, overloading the muscle, and controlling the movements as much as possible. thing about using a machine for lateral raises, especially this type of machine, is once you hit failure, you can reduce the range of motion and keep pushing past that failing point. So essentially, instead of doing full reps, you can just do micro reps and just burn out the shoulders. Burn them out as much as you can until they feel like they're on fire. Yeah, buddy. Alright guys, so we just finished up our shoulder workout here at Forge Fitness over in Post Falls. First workout really here, well, second workout, did legs yesterday, but first kind of real workout where we really got into it. Yesterday was kind of more exploring the gym, getting used to all the equipment, the atmosphere, all that kind of fun stuff. But we covered a whole bunch of stuff today, mainly starting out with a nice solid 15-20 minute warm-up, really focusing on hitting the delts from every single angle possible, trying to push blood into the front delt, the lateral head, the rear head, from as many different angles as we could possibly hit them in order to push blood and push nutrients into those muscles. Now once we finished that, then we moved into our first kind of compound movement, or our first primary exercise, which was an overhead press. Now today I did a machine overhead press versus you could do a seated dumbbell overhead press, barbell, any kind of pressing movement you want. The biggest key to focus on is going to be how you're pressing. So as you remember, I was trying to press directly overhead as opposed to pressing out and forward, which is what the machine kind of has the angle of. So I was putting a little bit of padding behind my back in order to get me a little bit further forward, but the reason for that was so that we could target the lateral head of our delt, focus on the cap of our delt, getting that extra width. Now once we finished that, then we moved into some front raises. We focused on a few different hand positions, holding the dumbbells in different areas from the top of the grip to the bottom of the grip, seeing how that adjusted the movement and how it adjusted the tension through the movement and how it was hitting the muscles. Now after that, we finished off the workout with some machine lateral raises. And if you remember, we did around 12 to 15 reps going towards failure, and then we did like some static holds on the last 3 or 4 reps. And after that, on the last couple of sets, we actually did a couple of burnouts. So where we were going from as full of range of motion as we possibly could, reducing it and just trying to push as much blood as we could into the shoulders, into the delts as we possibly could in order to round them out, push nutrients into those delts and finish everything off. So that was pretty much the workout for today. Nothing too crazy, but overall really damn good workout. Really enjoyed it here. Been here for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I haven't seen a single other person, so this is gonna be a good gym. Definitely gonna like it. But that's gonna be it for today, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Definitely helps out, helps show your support. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And as always, subscribe because we've got more videos coming out all the time. Everything from nutrition to workouts to just kind of cameras and anything in between. So, as always, thank you guys for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.